Hi, this is the DNA-CHAP channel, and this is Dan. This is where I talk about carnivore diet, running and training on a carnivore diet, no carbs, zero carbs, very low carbs, whichever one you want to take for. And yeah, the ups and downs of that. So this video is about what I eat on my carnivore diet. It's only a brief video. It's just going to give you an example of what I can manage to get locally. My diet is basically, yeah, as everybody else's, is generally partly convenience, money, what I can afford, yeah, and what fits the carnivore diet, obviously. And yeah, hopefully I'll give you some ideas, and you can see that it's quite easy to do and very doable and very tasty. So what else is on my menu on a regular day today? These are, what is it? I think it's £12, £12.99 for 4 rump steaks. You again choose the ones with the nice big thick bit of fat on them. That's like one a day of those. There's the bacon again. £1 for 500 grams. Do occasionally get lamb chops, although they're a bit more expensive, but sometimes want to change up and have something slightly different. And then a staple, mince, ground beef, minced beef, 500 grams there. That's £3, lots of fat in it. That's usually have one of those as a meal. I think I said it quite a few times, trying to cut out dairy, but it has been in for a while. I guess have cheddar, basically, sometimes some mozzarella. Then I do have cream, but not single cream, double cream most of the time, but I don't have any anymore. And then lastly, what I've had, I do have Greek yogurt as well, which tends to be quite high on carbs. As it say there, 5.3 grams per 100 grams. So I guess that's not ideal, but sometimes, well, not sometimes, this is basically what I can afford, doing the best with what I've got. And yeah, sure, there are far better options, and this is not the cleanest version of carnivore, but it's far cleaner than the average diet, and I feel good on it. And when I can afford more, I'll maybe bump up the quality, but needs must. And this is just about on budget for me. So there you have it. It's my standard breakfast, bacon and eggs, and washed down with coffee and cream, decaf coffee, plenty of cream. That should definitely keep me going. Sometimes it's usually eggs, but sometimes bacon. Maybe switch it around for sausages, or whatever needs to be eaten, or whenever, whatever works. Really, you know, it's even though I'm eating a diet that's different to most people, I suppose it's still based on what's practical, what works. So, you know, I eat what needs to be eaten. When something's going out of date, then gets eaten at that time. It's not like every day it has to be this and this amount, blah blah blah. It's got to be within, real life food, real life what I can afford. That's what it's all about. So that's kind of an overview of what I eat in general. I mean, it varies. I add all sorts of different things in. I mean, whatever variations of different meats and dairy there is. I have a liver occasionally. I've had some kidney and heart, very rarely, because it's a bit more expensive. I don't rule any kind of meats out. It's just what I've shown you is the most economical. It's basically what's easy for me to get hold of my local shops and the cheapest. And obviously there's better versions. I mean, I think as I did when I first started, I kept it as clean as possible. Didn't have dairy. I was just eating meat and eggs. I think that's good to do that, particularly to start off with, if you're thinking about doing carnivore. Although it depends on what works for you. If you want to do it slowly, there's a suggestion that you should do it slowly and cut out things slowly as well. But I think the cleanest version, particularly if you're doing it for health reasons, probably to eliminate as much as possible. But I do believe this is the healthiest option, and I felt a lot better from being on it. Particularly my stomach is the most noticeable, being flat and just losing excess body weight, which feels good, makes you feel good, just naturally, The idea on carnivore, you just eat until you're satiated, and then so that you're not hungry. And I've found it to be true that if you eat a large portion of meat, that after you get to a point where you don't want to eat anymore, and that's kind of it seems like a natural way to eat, is like a natural idea, is that you eat until you're full. Carbohydrates tend to have an addictive action. The way they act in your body means that they moreish. You want to eat more. You'll eat a load, stop eating, and then not long after you'll get a high in energy, and then you get a low and you want to eat some more. It doesn't happen on carnivore. If I eat, say, like I showed you, I eat 500 grams of mince. By the end of I get to that, I'm full. I feel full and I don't want to eat anymore. So I don't really think of portion wise. I just eat until I'm full, I'm hungry. So I'm not looking at the amount of protein and amount of fat. I'm aware that particularly while I'm doing lots of exercise, if you're not doing so much exercise, then maybe you don't need to consume quite as much fat, probably. But I consume a lot of fat because that's what my body's using for energy. So that's my kind of like, I'm a bit more concentrating on making sure I get plenty of fat, and fat's like satiating as well. So yeah, I guess I pay a bit more, or think a bit more about having fat on its own, basically, as opposed to as part of my meal as well. In addition to meals, the fact that I get my meals, like I said, I have cream in coffee, add butter in coffee, maybe occasionally have a spoonful of butter on its own if I feel like it. But I'm not counting calories, and I'm not counting macros or anything. Just going by feel. Probably after I've done a long run, or the day after I've done a long run, I might feel an extra hungry. If I've had a rest day, then maybe I don't feel so hungry. I think those are naturally how it works. I don't think Carnivore doesn't have to be expensive. Whatever your budget, I'm sure you can find a way of doing it. If you've got more money, then lucky you can spend more money on, if I had loads of money, I'd go to the posh butchers up the road and get, grass-fed cuts of steak, ribeye and T-bone and fresh lamb and livers and all the rest of it, but it's just not an option, unfortunately. So stick to what I've got, and I think I think basically by being on a carnivore diet, I've cut out 90 and above processed foods. This is a clean diet. You could consider some of the dairy foods that I eat as processed, but they don't have, a long list of ingredients with additives. They're very simple. It's all very straightforward, and they're all tasty foods. Personally, for me, I love it. It's all good. I think that was, it was just a quick overview of my carnivore diet in particular. Maybe gives you some ideas of how you can go about it. It doesn't have to be super expensive. And ultimately, I think, the more you can cut out all of the processed foods that we eat, generally reduce your carbs as much as possible, the healthier you're going to feel. And with that, I'll say thanks for joining me again. Thanks for watching. I hope you found it interesting, useful in some ways. Please like and subscribe, and carry on following on. Leave any comments if you've got any questions, suggestions, or what I should talk about in the future. Hope you have a good week, and see you in the next one. Ciao for now.